Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and today I'm going to be building another handicap-accessible Nemesis. This is for another fellow in a wheelchair. He was recently diagnosed with ALS and is no longer able to play the Nerf wars he and his son used to enjoy, and so his wife reached out to me and asked me if I could help build him a blaster to go in his wheelchair. And the Owen Tank 2.0 worked so well using a Nemesis and a touchpad, we decided to do the same thing. It's going to be mounted a little bit differently, and that's going to be really the trickiest part. The wiring is, it's still going to be running on stock because he's going to be using it with his kid in their backyard. And so it doesn't need to be terribly souped up. And quite frankly, if we put any more voltage through it, the switch would probably burn out unless I used a MOSFET. And like I said, they don't want to overpower it anyway. So it's just going to have the same basic concept. There's going to be a switch that will turn on the flywheel, so they'll be permanently on, and then there'll be a touch pad that he touches to activate the blaster, which will just plug in using an audio jack, and it should be fairly straightforward for the wiring. Then I get to figure out the mounting, which I have some ideas for, which we will get into. So let's get this thing open. Now the goal is to have the blaster still function normally, so that the son could use the blaster when it's not attached, if he so desired. And so in order to facilitate that, the wiring needs to remain more or less as it is, with the exception of adding in the switch and the plate. Now the switch that I've added here, the on switch, this will turn on the flywheels and the agitator. When you flip the switch forward, it will just be permanently on. If you flip it back, it'll just be off. But we want the rev trigger to still work. So the wires that come into the rev switch need to also, that come in and out of the rev switch need to also come in and out of here. So we can either splice into the red, or we could run a second wire off of the red and then splice into the pink, or just solder into the same location as the pink, and that should suffice. And so I'm actually going to try the soldering into the same connections option, if I can find my wire bin. Jacks. Alright, that's the rev taken care of. Now for the firing. We're going to be using this pressure-sensitive plate switch, which is lovely. The one thing we will have to disable is we will have to disable the motor braking on the firing mechanism, because this is only a single circuit switch. It doesn't have the 3 circuits that the trigger usually has that would allow for motor braking. And if we don't take it out, then if the trigger's not pressed when you touch this plate, you will short out your battery and it will explode. Or at least in this case, it would just drain the battery. So we are just going to clip it. Clip the negative. Out of the trigger switch. Now we're going to be using this 3.5mm audio jack, which should work. It does. The only question is, it's obviously only 2, and this is a 3 stereo jack, so we need to figure out which of the 2 plates we need, because if we plug in the wrong 2, then the blaster will just always be on. And we'll be doing the same thing. We've got what's coming in and out of the switch will need to get connected, so we'll need to connect up yellow and orange will be the 2 colors that need to go into here as well as into here, and we can either connect in right at the switch, I'm not going to try it at the switch. Not enough room. So we're going to connect in at the far ends here. So on the mag detection lock, we'll solder into that board, and then we will solder into looks like the motor. Yeah, the conveyor belt motor. Okay. Alright, well, like I said, the wiring for this build is not actually that complicated. The only feature we had to remove was electric braking off of the firing, which isn't that important anyway because it uses the conveyor belt system. And, yeah. We can button it back up. Alright, the wiring is now complete. That switch turns it on. That port is where you plug in the button. And that is all there was to that, which is quite lovely. So here it is in action. We've got the mounting built. They're going to paint it when they get home. I had to have the actual chair to be able to do the actual settings and modifications. The switch right there turns it on, and then the button on the left side fires it. That has not been secured yet either. But when he pushes it, it fires. The rate of fire is a bit low with the button because it's the delay has to go all the way through, but it will still shoot. The battery, it also is currently just running on old D batteries, so fresh batteries would probably help a great deal. Added a Velcro strap to secure it there so it won't wobble out, though it is fairly tight in the frame anyway. Ran the wire through the hose so it comes out right there. And yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I expect footage of it in action eventually. Eventually. So, yeah, it can be done. It was actually fairly simple. So, yeah, enjoy. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Goodbye.